Hello, everyone. I have Shaun from GoHighLevel, the CEO and co-founder of HighLevel with me. And he is going to be talking about a brand new feature that HighLevel has just launched, and that's social media posting. Shaun, over to you.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Yeah, so wanted to talk a little bit about social media posting, and kind of where we're going with it. So what I thought I'd start with is I've got a presentation to share with you that I've put together, and then we can kind of jump into an actual demo of the product. So, excuse me. So social media, obviously, if you're at all familiar with HighLevel, we realize that our goal is to be really that agency operating system. And social media is obviously a very big part of any small business and agency's playbook. And so we really wanted to bring this into the app as a feature because we know that kind of everybody needs it, right? And so as we kind of walk this down, what we sort of thought of is, okay, what's the importance, right? So we obviously know tons of people use social media. It's kind of like a no duh kind of situation, but a lot of agencies either don't provide this as a service and or don't really work with it in their agency as a product. And so we thought, well, what's an easy way to kind of help people get started? And if we look out in the world, obviously, I would say that I always think of it like if you Google like how to market my business online, you're always going to see like posting on social media as the thing to do, right? And so today, there's like these are kind of the larger providers of social media posting software, and a lot of the time, this is where customers are sent. And as an agency, either you have to recommend these products out, which that means that you're not collecting any revenue off this deal, or it's a situation where you are having to deal with a multitude of platforms and have to really kind of manage and handle all of those, and probably all of the above. So what we thought was, okay, well, let's kind of do this differently, right? So what are those problems that are common to the scenario? We manage a lot of different accounts, multiple platforms, multiple logins, dealing with all kinds of drafting of content, approvals, that kind of thing, team collaboration issues, difficult to measure ROI. So, posting social media is great, but like, how do we know what we're getting out of the deal? Are we getting leads from that? Can we track them back? All of that. And then obviously deciding on time zones for optimal posting because we have different clients in different time zones. So when we put out social media posting, we sort of thought, okay, look, this will be great because now you've got this existing platform that hopefully you're using to manage your clients. You now can add social media posting into it. It's the same login as they're already using for other things that you're doing. And it's the same login you're already using, right? You can connect multiple social accounts to the same locations, all that good stuff. You can draft all the content, get it ready for your clients, have it approved by them, go through all of that in one spot. You can set up workflows. You can have multiple team members in there, both on the client side and on the agency side doing the management. And obviously you can tie all of that into analytics and ROI. And then over time, you can also do things like AI-based posting suggestions. So we looked out in the market and we said, okay, well, and then the other thing is pricing, right? So the goal of HighLevel is super simple. We want to make agencies more money every single day and do so as much as possible on a recurring revenue basis with not a lot of additional work, if at all possible. And so, my sort of base case is always every small business is going to buy a certain number of tools and every agency is going to buy a certain number of tools. How can we make sure all of those things live cohesively in one spot and preferably under one price tag? So, we looked at a couple of the major providers out there, and you can kind of see how they price out their solution. So what we did is we just sort of included social media posting as part of our existing pricing. So if you're a HighLevel customer, it doesn't cost you any more money to add it in. And now you can turn around and resell that to your clients, and you can do so either at the same rates or a more competitive rate to maybe some of the other solutions that they're using in the market, right? So it's a very affordable way for an agency, at the very least, to offer the same software that every small business should be using already and might already be using, but now they can do it at either a zero price or hopefully a not zero price, and really move a lot of that revenue over into their column instead of keeping it with some of these other providers that are currently out in the market today. Obviously, we'll go over this in the demo a little bit, but on our side, we've already released sort of V1. And we're shortly around the corner, kind of V2 is coming out, where we're going to be adding Instagram, Facebook groups, and LinkedIn in the next week or so. And I've got kind of a sneak preview demo of that. So on that note, that's the end of my cool slide presentation. Bean, any questions from you so far or any observations?
Yeah, so I know this is a newer feature added, but I'm assuming this is going to become a part of the SaaS configurator as well, right? So you can price your plans accordingly and generate additional revenue.
Exactly. In fact, it should be in the SaaS configurator next week, along with the Facebook groups posting, as well as the Instagram posting.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, when I was sort of chatting with a few of the people, a couple of questions I got asked was, how about multi-location posting from a single account? Where
that is possible today.
That is possible.
Yeah. So basically, we designed the connecting. So if you're familiar with HighLevel, in the past, we sort of took this one location, one connection sort of thing to heart. It's very much kind of like how Google My Business would tell you to do it, that sort of thing. But as time has gone on, we've realized that a lot of people will commingle a lot of these activities. In some situations, it's really easy. So like in this scenario, you can actually come in and you can do like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 Facebook connections here. You can do basically an N number. So any number of Facebook, Instagram, Google My Business, and any social channel we add, you'll be able to do multiple under the same account.
So you can, if I understand this correctly, then so you can have one account, a main account that you can sort of use to manage social media posting for all these multiple accounts, and use that to do the posting from there. Yeah,
exactly. And because what do we know? We know that a lot of businesses will operate physical locations that are obviously separate, but they'll end up doing a lot of the management of those businesses sort of centrally, and that could be that either they have one person that does all the social media posting for all locations, or in effect, they just sort of have one social media presence for their business that's sort of regional. And you might go to one office or another, but there's only one Facebook page to really look at. And so we sort of took that to heart here. And I think it allows for both of those use cases pretty easily.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That's amazing. You guys are doing some great stuff here. All these new features adding on is definitely helping agencies. One of the things I want to point out, since you mentioned the SaaS configurator part is going to be live next week, so that means now you can leverage that to upsell higher tier plans by including social media posting in one of those plans, right?
Absolutely. So, I sort of think about marketing in 2 buckets that agencies do. So they're sort of like, I think of it as activity-based marketing. So these are things where the agency is just sort of doing a thing. And as long as you sort of do that thing at a certain quality level or higher, that's really the bar for success. And I think of those things like social media posting is a good example. A website might be one of those things. Blogging could be one of those things. And so this is really a play towards that. And we're also going to be launching blogging in app next quarter. And the idea is that we want to create a way for you as an agency, if the other bucket, which I sort of think of as the performance bucket, and these are things like running ads, for example, or doing lead generation, that kind of thing, where that's the exciting stuff that business owners really love to hear and talk about and so forth. But if we look at the data on the ground, you can often sell someone on something exciting like that up until they've done it for a while. And then they, if things don't work out the way they think they should, and, they feel like it should be 100x what it is, whatever, you tend to get a lot of churn on that stuff, right? But if you use that to kick the door down, and then you bring in these activity-based components, the blogging, the social media posting, all of that, you give yourself this really great second leg on the stool to not only provide them software, which they are going to buy anyways from somebody else, might as well buy it from you, but also another set of services that if they decide later on, hey, look, we're done with running ads, it's too expensive, blah, 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 whatever their excuse is, they're still going to need the blogging and the social media posting. And now you still have that door open. You still generate revenue for yourself and for your customer. And then long-term, you keep the door open for them to come back later on and put back the ad services, which we find tend to kind of go up and go down versus kind of stay steady like a blog or a social media posting service.
Right. Especially with the ads, right? Some businesses, some agencies do such a great job that the business that gets a tremendous amount of results, and now they can't keep up with it. For that reason, they'll turn off the ads, and vice versa as well, right? Some businesses.
That's a good point. Yeah. So either way, you lose, right? You do too good of a job, you're fired. You don't do a good enough job, you're fired. It's like, how do you win?
Right. Yeah. So you got to sort of keep it in the middle to to have continuous success. But that's very difficult to do. You don't know how well those are going to perform.
Well, and honestly, whoever wants to say that, right? Like, oh, what do you try to do? Well, I try to do okay, but not great. Like, that's just never something someone wants to do. And I think the answer to that, right, is this: is take this more holistic picture of what it is that you're providing. And again, I have long been of the opinion, and I'm sorry about the background noise, that agencies need to be not only providers of services, but also providers of technology and products, because that is exactly how you're going to create a really great recurring revenue stream that is very scalable and durable, instead of just relying on services only.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things you guys do really, really well. This whole, operating system being built with HighLevel really allows agencies to be in that software game to, instead of recommending all of these, tens of other softwares, now you can recommend one single unified platform that really does everything for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was just going through this. This is actually the test server. So I'm curious to see what if it works or if it breaks on me, if I get my sort of Bill Gates moment. But let's see here. But because this is the actual, there we go. No one dislikes the puppy dog,
Right.
But so there we go. That's cute. Look at that. So, but you can see kind of how the preview gets done. You can see how, so here I'm selecting the different networks. And so now when I selected networks that's specifically different, so up here, this is actually an actual Facebook post to a personal page. And you can see, like, here's the Instagram preview, here's the Google My Business preview. And again, you can add calls to action here. So you can say, actually, I want a shop button, or I want to learn more button, and you can see the specific previews. Then back over here, though, this is going to be your group preview, because groups are going to be different than personal pages and vice versa, right? And so really going out there, and then again, being able to post here, obviously save for later, that's easy to do. So now you've got it in your draft. But then also, if you go out and you go to scheduling the post, you have the ability to go in and actually choose where you want to put it on the calendar. And then, of course, obviously, once it's scheduled, you can go into the planner here and actually see when those posts are scheduled. And obviously, you can even drag them over to other dates and times that you want to schedule the post out on. So pretty cool functionality, in my opinion. It's still simple enough that I think that both the agency and the customer can use this in concert together. But again, our goal and our mission here is, how do we make it so that if you as an agency go out and you show this to a customer, they can't say, well, yeah, but I'm using such and such, and it does, these other 10 things that this doesn't do. So our goal here is to get it to that level, which I think we will have in the next month or two, with the addition of the other social media networks. And then the other big thing on the agency side, and this is something I think very few people will follow us in on, is, we want to make this super scalable. And so as I think about this, if I'm an agency, I'm in a niche, I'm serving a certain type of customer, if you really think about social media posting, a lot of people think about it as like custom posts that are created just for them. But in reality, that's not necessary. And honestly, it's overkill, because the vast majority of people aren't going to go to like the plumber's Facebook page and read all the silly posts. But what they will do is they'll go to the Facebook page and they'll just sort of like scroll through and think, well, how does this look, right? And if the Facebook page is vacant and has nothing on it and isn't filled out, it just feels bad. It feels like, maybe these people aren't very serious. They're really not on their game. But if they've got a lot of posts that look good, that's really easy to say, well, this person clearly is kind of doing the right thing. I'm not going to sit there and read all these posts. And frankly, the other big thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to go and compare it to 100 other plumbers. I'm just going to look, does it gut check, and bam, I'm going to move on and make that purchase decision, which is what we're looking for. And so for us, it's about allowing people to use templated content to create really scalable, pre-done posts that can be pushed out to all of their customers through Snapshots and get automatically scheduled, and basically create this nice automated posting where they don't have to take and go create individual posts for every single silly customer and have it, be frankly way too expensive for them as an agency to do social media posting. I really think this is the future of small business social media posting.
Absolutely. And to your example of the plumber, it's also a trust building exercise, right? When you got a prospective client looking at your business, whether it's your Google My Business updates or your social media content, they're wanting to see, can I trust this company to come and service me? If they see content from you, it also helps your SEO as well, content there, right? And it helps you build trust with that customer to eventually turn into a sale.
Absolutely. And I think, but as an agency, the other thing I always talk about is, I love agencies and I hate agencies at the same time. I love them because they want to do such an awesome job for their customer and they want to go above and beyond to really just crush it. But I hate them because that inherently creates this problem of the amount of effort and time and energy they're going to put in is almost never reciprocated with its sort of respect and appreciation and enjoyment by their customer as it should be. And what I find that where that really breaks down is the price tag is really always the issue, right? So the small business owner wants to pay $300 for social media posting, and the agency is saying, wait, I can't do this for less than $1,000 or $2,000 a month. And there's always this butting of heads. And I think this is where a lot of churn is created. And so it's our mission to really fix that problem. And specific to social media posting, the answer there is really using that sort of pre-done templated sort of library where you're able to give them quality posts that are to some extent customized by things like dynamic variables, company names, slogans, things like that, but are not completely bespoke posts so that you're like out there trying to kill yourself or find someone who will do it for pennies on the dollar kind of thing. And you can ultimately create this nice, again, recurring revenue stream that the customer will pay for 10 years, but you're not losing money trying to do the production and running around creating a lot of customized stuff.
Wait, I think I just had an aha moment here. So you said sort of templated posts. That means you guys are planning on making this available in part of Snapshots as well,
Absolutely.
where you'll be able to send out the templates into an account. They'll have a whole bunch of posts already. The client can go pick and choose, and maybe custom values in there as well. Their business name will get inserted, and all of that.
Absolutely. That's our big next step. So we're going to add a couple more social media networks. But in all honesty, I'm way more excited to shift the dev team over to that because again, if I think about how to create a business here, it's not about, I'm like, for example, TikTok is video. It's going to be a one level above, probably integrating with a lot of other social networks because of that. But I would rather delay that integration and focus more on being able to bring this idea of, hey, I've got 180 plumber posts and I want these to all automatically go out to all 30 of my plumber accounts on, once a week or whatever it is. And it's going to automatically go in, it's going to look good, it's going to have custom variables, and it's going to auto post or go to auto approval for the client to see. And I don't really have to do anything except just sort of say, take this collection and hook it up to this account starting now. And it just sort of takes over from there. And so that for us is the next big mission. And we'll obviously create that functionality. We'll allow the agency to create those posts if they so choose. We'll also go out into the world we have a lot of creators in our environment who do amazing work. So we'll try to unite those people in here as well so that, again, if I was running an agency today, I'm not creative. I don't know how to make posts. And honestly, I don't know that I would spend a lot of time doing it. I would just try to seek somebody who had already existing libraries of this stuff where I could create the outcome my client was looking for, which is a nice looking social media page, not, this somehow some perfect post when most posts don't get any engagement at all, if not just very little.
Right. And help, help with their SEO performance there to help rank them a little bit.
Absolutely. And this is actually, we focused heavily on Google My Business out of the gate because again, I think that Google continues to grab more and more market share when it comes to the local business search, as weird as that might sound, because they've been so dominant. But I do think that the Google might, what was it, Google Plus or whatever they sort of tried to do a couple of years ago, that was clearly a failure.
Yeah.
But I do think this idea of adding posts into Google My Business is cool because it's sort of like a half step where you don't have to join their social media network, but now businesses can contribute content about themselves that's unique. And I think that's really adding to a lot of value. And I know that Google My Business and Google specifically is looking at a lot of that for ranking factors. So it's definitely important for us to have that, which is why we started with them.
Absolutely. And sometimes, there are those customers that actually look at some of those updates to see what you've been talking about, and maybe they'd make a purchasing decision or, decide to contact you because of that. So
absolutely. Well, and Google's going to continue to use it more and more across its search engine also, because it needs that content for itself, right? So when you search plumber near me, what do you want to show? Do you want to show the plumber that has a lot of like pictures and posts and content, or you want to just show like the name, address, phone number, right? I mean, it's obvious. You want to show the more rich content. Because that person is going to be more likely to also probably provide a great service. Because again, it's sort of like, the guy who has the white van with the black letters on it probably is fine, but the one that goes, all out to create this 3D wrap on the van, you just know one cares a lot more than the other. And if you're going to take a bet, I'm going to bet on the guy with the wrap job every day, because I just feel like they at least thought about it when it came to branding their company.
Absolutely. So I own an agency as well. And the first thing I say is, hey, your web presence needs to look amazing, because if it doesn't, that's where you're driving all the traffic to. Essentially, wherever they saw you, they're going to search you online. They're going to look at your reviews. They're going to go to your website. Even your logo has a huge effect on whether they're going to buy from you or not. If you don't look clean, you don't look presentable to your customers, and they don't trust you, they won't buy from you. And social media plays right into that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And so, a big part of, again, we know this is a mainstay of being an agency and being a small business. And again, I think the interplay here is beautiful, because I always ask, what business doesn't need to post on social media? And the answer is none. And then from there, as an agency, you kind of get to double dip, right? So if you want to get into the service of this, or you already are, great, here you go. Now this is how you monetize. Or if you don't want to get into the service of it, that your customer should be buying this from someone. So now you can offer it to them and you can create a revenue stream around it, right? So, I mean, if you go look at, the Sprout Socials of the world, the Hootsuites of the world, these are publicly traded companies that do hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue or worth billions in market cap. Now you're able to be that same thing, right? You're able to be the Sprout Socials of the world. And sure, are there features that they have that aren't here? Yes, most of them are enterprise level features that the average small business, quite frankly, doesn't need. And so really what we're doing is stripping out all that excess and leaving you with this really sleek, simple, minimalist way to get the job done for the small business.
And I think there's a niche for the market over here, and that's a small business owner that we're going after with the software and or the agency services as well. And having social media part of it, and telling them, hey, you can cut down on one other subscription that you don't have to pay. That probably alone pays for this upgrade that you're going to do
easily. If you go back and look at the pricing on any of these other platforms, some of them are really great about starting you out at free or $2 a month or whatever. But once you actually do anything with it, they're very quickly in the hundreds of dollars a month, right? And again, like you said, I love the idea of leading with the software because it's just lower priced, right? And there's no service there and all of that. You get the customer in on it, you have them start doing it, you have them start realizing it's actually work and it's difficult. And then you sweep in and say, hey, what if we, take over and do your posting for you? And, somebody pointed this website out to me, and I'm not bringing them up because to say that I don't know anything about their business, but I love the idea. There's this idea that there's these pre-done posts, right? And kind of what we were talking about, you come in here and they've got this really great example of, hey, here is a fake, Facebook account, or maybe it's real, I don't know, but basically here are all these pre-done posts. And if you don't know what's going on and you just scroll through here, you think, wow, this company really looks like they post a lot on social media. And and you can even look at the post and say, well, I hate the designs or whatever it is. They're not perfect. Maybe they're not. But no consumer is going to look at this and say, oh, this doesn't look like a posting HVAC company. They're going to say, yeah, these people will clearly do this. And this is the approach I would recommend to an agency is, hey, look, this, how to make your HVAC quieter, right? This, by the way, not only does it says, get your ductwork fixed, sagging or bent air ducts can cause airflow. This is actually a potential sale for your customer, first of all. And second of all, it's the same post that could be used for 1,000 HVAC companies, and all of them would benefit, right? So I think this is the sort of solution you can come in and offer your customers on top of the software.
Absolutely. And posting content like that, especially when your customer is looking at it, it makes them feel that what you're talking about, which is
Absolutely.
why we're talking about the details and the nitty gritty of things. You must be an experienced person, an expert in whatever that is. which gives them all the reason and the trust to buy from you, right? At the end of the day, it's making that sale with the customer, bringing them in to your business and having a transaction.
Exactly. And that's actually all that matters. And I think for most small businesses, it's the same sort of scenario, right? It's, I need to find you. I need to evaluate you. And then I need to sort of, I need to take the next step, which is almost always an appointment. And really what we're talking about here is this is that evaluation stage where it's just, I'm going to do some hunting around, and maybe it's going to be on Google My Business, maybe on Facebook, maybe on Instagram. I don't know, but I'm just going to kind of look around real quick before I trust you with my business, just to see how you look, even maybe outside of the reviews, because reviews are great, but people are starting to realize reviews are important. They're working on them. You're starting to get scenarios where you've got 5 businesses that sort of on the review side are neck and neck. So now you need to add that extra layer of, well, wait, how do I differentiate or decide, which of these people to go with? And I think this is where all of these posts and all of this content become key.
Right. I've got Don. He asked a question related to earlier point about templates, social media templates being available. So he's asking, or perhaps this is a very good idea as well. Are we going to make them available in the marketplace that you guys are building? So the marketplace.
Yeah, absolutely. So just so everybody knows, we just kind of kicked this off. Recently. Oh, there it is right there. So we added our sort of first shot at this, which is the funnel templates. And so we basically went out to our community and we said, hey, listen, if you're a funnel builder, please come in and tell us, or please contribute your funnel. We'll let you sell it in our marketplace. We take no cut here. So there's no money being made by HighLevel. We're just truly trying to connect, high-level customers with high-level creators and bring them together. We're going to do this same sort of thing on the social media side to make it really, really easy for people to come in. And obviously with social media, you're going to probably buy a collection of posts, not one, like that kind of thing. But again, same kind of scenario. So absolutely, Don, we will totally do that.
Fantastic. I had another question written down over here. Approval from clients. So when a social media or an agency, puts together a post, will there be in the future, or maybe there is already an approval mechanism to get the client to approve that post so it could be posted?
Yes. So I think so there's a couple of ways to do it today. So obviously you can schedule these out in the future, right? And then you can let your client know, hey, listen, I want you to go ahead and take a look at these before they auto post. Or you can also just not schedule them for posting. You can save them for later. And then they go in here under the draft stage, and you can actually ask your client to come in and actually look at these drafts and approve them. And what we will add to this, though, is we'll add the ability to inform clients that there is a sort of post that is waiting approval. And then we'll allow them to sort of be put in a, ready to go, approved stage. And once they make that, they'll be able to get an email that just sort of says, listen, here's all the posts you need to come look at. They'll click in, they'll come over here. There'll be another column here called for approval, and they'll be able to literally go in and hit approve, and kind of go through that more traditional approval stage. And that should be out the next month or so. I would say it's going to be out pretty quickly. Although interestingly, I would say in general, over time, as an agency, I would try to not actually get into that mode, because what matters, again, most of the time is that we're putting out posts that look good, are reasonably good, but are not perfect and are not, custom and all of these other things. And it's probably it's way better, because if you don't have to have the client do the interaction, it just feels like magic. And, obviously as an agency, you're not going to post something that's terrible. So at worst, they might come back and say, can we edit that or update that or whatever? But I would almost try to get them in a cadence of it just happening for them. So that way they can sort of just make any changes they want. But on an average day, you're not relying on them to get that content out in the world, because I think most clients are busy. They won't even get back to leads, let alone, come in and approve social media posts all the time. So we'll have that flow for sure, but I personally don't like that flow at all.
Yeah. So another suggestion came in, says maybe with an auto approve, if not approved within X amount of time.
Yeah, that's actually I just saw that. That's a really great idea. Yeah, just being able to say, listen, feel free to approve this, but if you don't, and in fact, I actually think that is where this comes in, right? So if we look at this post and we say, look, we're going to go ahead and schedule it, I think what we just need to do is have it so that it informs the client that a new scheduled post has been put up. And then they can go in and actually look at it before it actually gets scheduled. And then it gives them an opportunity to actually, again, I like the opt out, not the opt in, right? So that's kind of what that is saying. And I think that's precisely. I think it's just about sort of alerting people, hey, if you're designated as a social media person on the account or somebody to contact about this stuff, you're going to get an email digest every day saying, hey, here's what's coming up, or this is what's happened on the social side.
Fantastic. All right, that was.
And actually, I have just one other thing. So the place after we do the templates, the next thing that we're going to go for is all of the social listening, and I think of it as sort of like social conversations. So today, all of you hopefully know that we have two-way texting. I don't know if they have any of that on this account. Yeah, they don't. But two-way texting and emailing and all those things, conversations. And so if you think about it, all the conversations going back and forth over social media are effectively the same thing. So we'll have all the comment streams back and forth on social media live as well. And that'll probably be late Q2, but that'll also make it into the feature set.
And that's going to go into the conversations box.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I think so. We're doing the product work now. I'm pushing for that because I sort of think you probably need a reference to the post, because if you're sort of trying to figure out what you're talking about, that'll be nice. But effectively, it is sort of just a two-way conversation, right? And it may end up on the social media side as a comment under the post, but from a customer service side or from a business side, it's just someone sort of reaching out to your business in a different way and saying, hey, I have a question or a comment about this. And really, you need to sort of treat it like an inbound message where you're jumping in and saying, oh yeah, let me reply to that.
Right. All right. Fantastic. Anything else, Shaun, that you guys are coming out of in the near future here?
Well, we've got on the social media side, to Don's question, actually, we have the ROI reporting. So you'll be able to see all the statistics around it, clicks, how many of those clicks turn into opportunities, of those opportunities, which ones closed, and then how much revenue, because we want to do ROI tracking across the board, right? So social media posts are awesome. But if we could also show that they make money, that's even one step better. And then again, I think the other sort of natural follow-on to this, which will come out with another team in Q2, and I'd love to come back and share it with you, is blogging. Again, I think yet another scenario where it's activity-based. As an agency, if you can be the person who is giving away the software that allows that customer to create the blog content, which again is, if you Google how to market my business, blogging is always on the silly list. That's great. And then it's also just another activity-based concept where it's like, if the blog goes out, we're good. It doesn't, and then can we track ROI off of it? Absolutely. But that's not necessarily how your client's going to judge you. They're just going to say, great, I have 100 blog posts. I'm feeling good. I'm looking good, because my customers now can see that, hey, look, I'm creating a lot of content. So that will absolutely be on the horizon here in the short term.
Fantastic. All right. Well, Shaun, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, it was great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for educating everyone on this new feature. It's going to be great. I suggest dive in, start using it. We already started using it, and we're having some great fun with it. So it should be good.
That's awesome. I really appreciate that. And keep the suggestions and feedback coming. The product manager there is phenomenal. She's done a great job. And it's really been a great effort between both her and the customer she's working with, who are giving us all this great feedback. Because again, I don't see any reason why we can't dominate the world of social media posting, not because we'll have the greatest software ever with every feature ever, but because we have the greatest customer base ever, who can really take these tools and operationalize them for the customer base. Where again, I think most people who I don't care what product they have, I don't care how much they pay for it, the likelihood that they're using it effectively is pretty close to zero, because unless they're a big in-house marketing team and they, that kind of thing. But if we're talking about the core set of sort of small and medium business, there's just no way in the world. The plumber, the lawyer, the doctor, the dentist, they just don't have time to do this sort of work. And even if they had the time, they just don't have the expertise. And that's why agencies are so critical.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And I want to point something out related to feedback. So you guys have done a great job by building that feedback button there. In some of the
saw that. I like it. That's good. Yeah. That's a new feature.
Yeah, I've used it myself as well to send some feedback. So, and I suggest everyone else watching this, if you guys have feedback ideas related to any of the new features, use that button. It's amazing. It's very, very quick to send that feedback to them.
And what's cool about it is it's different than what we've done before. So it literally tracks back to the product manager who owns that product. So it's not just some general email or feedback loop or whatever. It goes to the person who's responsible, and all of our product managers, their number one KPI across the board is really adoption. So it's, hey, it's cool that you're working on this, this feature or this product, but what's the adoption rate and how are you increasing it? And really, that's why the feedback is there, because we know that if we just listen to our customer, they're going to tell us what they need. And as long as we just sort of kind of take all that feedback in and figure out what we hear the most and sort of roughly follow along that track, we're going to do great.
Fantastic. All right. Sounds good. Well, again, thanks, Shaun.
Thanks for having me. It was great to be here.
I look forward to having you on one of the future ones as well.
Absolutely. I can't wait to come back. Well, thanks everybody who showed up to check this out today. And so hopefully we'll see you all soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye for now.